haven't guessed, my name is Cindy, and hopefully you will not have a problem with my Michigan accent today. This is kind of our objective. You can participate, and I have lots of ways. Either you can ask one of the questions you've been handed, you can participate another way. Okay, let's practice. Thumbs up, I like it. Hands raised, I've used it. Or I use it now. Sound good? So, real life, I hold project meetings just like you do, and what I used to do in a face-to-face meeting is I would say, okay, look at me when you're ready to go on. But nobody wants to look up from their device. So I switched to say, hey, give me a thumbs up when you're ready to go on, and they can keep reading their device, and my meetings are going much smoother. So there's your first takeaway for today. All right, demonstration. We're getting started. Some of you already saw the video, so you have some insight. Let's start with Word. Do you guys use Word? Mm-hmm. Couple things, and this is one of my sample files. Hey, we practiced, hands raised, nice job. I use things like bookmarks, hyperlinks within a document. Now, by the way, there's all these wonderful tabs that you can get lost in, and I realize you may not be able to see everything, so let me just read off one of those. There's a bookmark feature. So you could set a section of your document, capture a bookmark, and then create a link to that just with a right click. So I don't expect you to learn any steps today. This is more about understanding the features. If you need me to give you a step-by-step refresher, you can email me later. Does that sound good? Because I realize even the video probably won't capture all of this. Something else that I think you could use, and I'm going to pick on Aubrey over here. You were saying you didn't know about this feature. I use this actually every day, including yesterday. It's the split. So this is a dynamic copy of your file where you can see the top portion and the lower portion and interact. So let me give you an example. How I used it yesterday is I had a document where I had to read some information at the top, and to interact, I was required to put in comments at the bottom, the last page. Well, I didn't want to scroll up and down all day long, so I split the screen. And Aubrey, I don't know, did you have a situation where you might use this?
Well, several. I think one of the ones you mentioned in your video, or in the teaser video, was when you're writing the conclusion and you need to go back, through the body of the paper. So it would have been really helpful to know that during college. So now I'm beyond college, though. There's still instances where anytime I'm, writing and being able to reference something, especially if it's editing a document for a colleague or something like that, I like to kind of go back to the point that they made or things like that. So I find myself scrolling a lot, and I will do this in the
Okay,
future.
Yeah, that's a good tip. Some other stuff while we're here, let me get rid of this a minute. And you may not know this, like on the References tab in Word, there is Smart Lookup and Researcher. So ways you might be wasting time is you go out to your internet browser to look something up, when instead you could just, copy the word you're looking at, go over here, paste it over here, paste it over here. I picked project management. Let's see if it knows what that is, hopefully. And lo and behold, it pulled up some information. Of course, spelling mistakes don't work very well, do they? Let's try this again. Pulled up project management. Let me check this one out. And it pulled up, guess what the leading organization is for project management? Anyone want to guess? PMI. So you don't have to leave your tool. Some other things I think you might use is, let's go over, let's see. You can quick jump to Wikipedia, and also quick parts I use all the time. So let's pretend I have a section that I duplicate in my documents over and over again. I can make it a quick part, and I'm going to just save it. So we'll put Cindy in here. And now anytime I need that quick part, watch what happens. I do Cindy, and I can hit F3, and there's my quick part. What do you think? So do I have any thumbs up on anything yet?
I haven't used that.
Anybody using any of these? You learned something new, pretty exciting. Let's switch back to that document. So what about Word tips? Do you guys use Word every day? They say the average person uses only 10 to 20% of the features in their tools. Does anyone have a Word tip they want to share? Maybe even less?
One of mine is always the page break.
Ah, do you do that with like Control Enter, or do you do another trick?
I actually go through it the long way.
The insert?
but- Yeah.
That's a good one. Yep, I do that a lot, a hard page break. Has anybody used the new translator feature? So I jumped over to the review tab. You can translate a section of your document in Spanish or anything else. This translation technology has come a long ways. I've actually had a discussion with someone in another country. We did not speak each other's languages. We were using translator to actually, we carried on a conversation in a live text chat. So things have come a long ways. Other thoughts about Word so far? So let's jump into Windows. So I've got Windows 10. Something I just found out that one of my colleagues did not know about. There's a little space over here that you can click on, and you go right to your desktop. So you don't have to close and minimize all those windows, which gets really annoying. What else can you do in Windows 10? So here is a lesson I learned the hard way. Do you ever have online meetings and you have your email notices popping up? You can first do Focus Assist. They keep changing this. I just did a right click there and say disable those. But warning, if you're an Office 365 customer, you have to remember to do these notifications as well. Otherwise, if you're showing something and you've got your Office 365 login, they'll still see your notifications. And how I learned this the hard way is, of course, that embarrassing email you didn't want anyone to see displayed in front of my crowd. So what do you think? Disable notifications? Anybody using that now? Very helpful. Because what I found out, and I don't know if you do this, if I see a notification, I read that person's email and ignore what they were saying. Do you do the same thing? All right, some other Windows 10 stuff. Do you know about Nightlight? Do you see my screen changing slightly? If you have migraines, use this. You can set it up to automatically be on at night, like on your phone. You can also do some other things, like you can turn it on whenever you need it, and you can adjust. So if you do a search on Nightlight, you will be able to adjust how strong it is. So I was actually working at a hospital in the southern part of the United States, and they said they actually are recommending this for a lot of their employees. Some of us work too long at our computer, and you're straining your eyes. This actually can help you. Is anybody using this? Do you use it just at night, or any thoughts? Go ahead.
When I should have put the laptop away 2 hours ago. And I can't remember which service pack or release it came in, but for me, I think I've been using it for about 2 months now.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice feature. Anyone else? I think you said you use Nightlight as well. When do you use that?
I think in the settings you can change it to like correspond with sunrise and sunset. So
Yeah.
I turned it on for that.
Absolutely, yeah. So those are a couple of Windows 10 tips. Now there's new stuff coming out. So there was an update in May. Not everyone at your company has probably deployed it. I haven't even deployed all of those. But something that they got a request about is, can I uninstall junk off my computer? So as soon as they deploy the May update, you can uninstall things like Solitaire. Also, for the IT people in the room, there's going to be a sandbox. That was with the May update. Anybody using the May update?
That was for enterprise only, correct?
Not necessarily, depends on what version of Windows 10 you have.
Okay.
So lots of new stuff coming. Okay, let's do some other fun things here. So while I'm doing demonstration, I've got all kinds of stuff open. So first off, I have, so this is Project Online, which some of you, is anybody using Project Online? So let me first of all explain what it is. It's just an enterprise solution, and it is for project management. And it can connect with Microsoft Project, and it can pull in your Agile projects, it can pull in your traditional waterfall projects. Here is something people use to maybe make better decisions. And I will zoom it in just a little here. Let's go to, does that help a little?
Or hit Control Plus.
That's a good tip. Hey, let's give that guy a round of applause. Remind me of your name. Randy. Also, you can do Control Plus and Control Wheel if you have a mouse. I actually just taught that to some relatives of mine, and they were so excited. I'm like, wow, I never knew that existed. So what I'm actually showing you is I have, so pretend I'm part of a book publishing company. I have 2 editors on my team, and I have a team resource. So the scenario is you want to plan current work, what you know you have people assigned to, and proposed work. Isn't there stuff that comes in, you don't know who's going to do it? And down below this graph, I've set up availability and capacity. The team, notice, is blank. The team isn't really tied to a person, so they don't have any capacity, but everyone else has capacity. So wouldn't it be nice to know in advance if you have over-allocated or under-allocated your team members? And to project, do we need to hire someone, maybe in a future period? I am traveling all over the place. I just worked with an automotive supplier, and they said, Cindy, here's the issue. We have a ton of team members. We want to hire more people, but our boss won't let us. I said, you need to prove you're over-allocated. And so what we did is made a bunch of assignments and showed those bars going over, hey, we need more people. And this is all the projects in the enterprise, and even better, we could drill in. So let's pretend that maybe you are the resource manager of these people and you want to make the decisions about who's doing what. I do not have to open anything. I can just click and navigate through and say who's doing what on all my projects, and I can see a Gantt chart, or I can see time phase data, kind of whatever you like. So there's a lot of stuff in Project Online. I'll show you a few more things in a minute. Some thoughts? Would it be nice to collectively gather your resource knowledge in one place? Any thumbs up? Anybody using it now? Nobody yet? So let me show you something relatively new. So with Project Online, they've released something called the roadmap. And it's pretty exciting. Give this just a minute to load. So what I set up in advance is a situation. So let's pretend you are managing many projects. Isn't it hard to keep track of all the tasks and all the projects? Would you be better off keeping track of key phases, key milestones, maybe look at programs one at a time? You can set up a roadmap that has the key details you want on your projects, and that roadmap can be shared with other people. And it's very easy to do. So I've actually set up a situation. Notice how these are actually connected to the real project. They are accessibility friendly, so whether you're colorblind or not, you should be able to make out what's what. Is it much easier to look at key checkpoints versus remembering every task and looking at every schedule? What do you think? Does anybody struggle with that? So this is really, people said, hey, I've got too much on my plate. I need to see the summary high level. You can share these with other people. Let me just show you how easy it is to connect. So I set up while I was getting ready here. we may have an internet delay. Well, here, let's do a new one. So we'll say WMPMI row. And we'll connect to me, connect to a real project. And I knew that question was coming in advance, so here's my thing to copy. So it's saying you could have multiple project online instances, and it's asking me which project online instance to reference. And which projects do I want? Well, I made a couple. I made Cindy's speaking engagements, so let's connect. So this is actually live. I'm doing this connected to the internet, and I'll be able to drill into an actual project, pick a task or a phase. Got a couple in here. I'll just pick one. And there's a key milestone. I'll give it just a moment to load. And it should know, it should be today. So let's see if I got that right. There it is. There's my task to present today. I connected right to the project. Wasn't that easy? So kind of think of this. Could you, someone in your organization, use a high-level view of your projects? Now let me do some other things here. I've got Real Project open. This is connected to Project Online, and I've got that schedule I just mentioned. Has anyone heard of the Planner tool? Yes, are you guys using it by any chance?
Not in a current role, but I have used it in a past role.
So yeah, you're using it?
For like tasks and stuff, so we use it in the team.
So Project is the full, scheduling engine. Very waterfall oriented. It does have some agile utilities in here like a Kanban board, but a lot of companies are saying this is too complex. I just need an agile utility. That's where Planner can come in. You can actually take a task in a schedule and relatively new feature linked to Planner. And I've set this all up in advance. And there's my WMPMI planner. Let me go to my Office 365 instance and show you where that is. And here's my presentation. So here is the planner tool. It has similar to a Kanban board. It has charts. It has a schedule if you want to use that. And what I did in advance is I got my mobile device here, and I downloaded the Planner app, and I'm going to pass this around, and you can actually see the same thing I'm showing you. So I'm going to give everyone a chance to try this. And you can just click the things at the top. Just go ahead and pass that around. And if you want to do some of my work while you're at it, that's okay too. This, if you're an Office 365 subscriber, this is included. There's no additional licensing. And I'm working with a pharmaceutical here in Western Michigan. They've got their whole IT department using this, and then they just link to key items on a schedule that rolls up to the enterprise level, Project Online. Any thoughts? What do you think? Yes, go ahead.
I have a question. I have this through business, but I looked personally, I think a few months ago, to see if I could get Planner like through my personal Office 365, and I think you said it was available with business license and so on.
So that's a good question. It does depend on your Office 365 license. So I don't remember if it's E3 or E5, but we can look that up online later. Yeah, there's certain licenses that have it. But on a home account, you can always upgrade to something different. Is anyone using Office 365 right now? What do you think about it? Good, bad?
Awesome.
Awesome, okay.
Okay, I'm gonna just say at Spectrum, we're in the process of doing the upgrade.
Okay.
I just received Windows 10, I just received it. The fact you don't push the save button anymore, 100. I'm not kidding. Every other Office upgrade in the last 20 years has been, Yay. This one really is a yay, because it's an awesome tool. It really is.
Yeah. Some things you can do with it, if you didn't know this, is you could do real-time editing. I was actually on a SharePoint document with a colleague 2 days ago, and I'm typing in my comments, and the other person is typing in comments, and I put a note, hey, John, and he said, oh, hey, Cindy, I better wait till you're done so I can respond on your comments. But you could actually see both of us editing at the exact same time. Have you done that?
Yes, we're preparing a document to go off to executives. The accountant wanted to look at it. She wanted to make it pretty because my stuff's functional. Yeah, her face is on her pointer, my face is on my pointer, and she fixed everything. And then we sent it off. So instead of me sending a copy, and then she sends it back, and then we talk, and then a half a day goes by, we did that in about 15 minutes.
Yeah, as long as you're on the web version.
Correct.
You can't bring it into the heavyweight version and work simultaneously with somebody else.
Yeah, there are some limitations, correct.
And the online version I used in 2015, which stunk, is 80% better. So I'm not kidding, it's getting there. It's good.
And just wait towards the end of my presentation, I'll show you why it's getting even better. So let's look at some other fun stuff here while you're passing around my planner. Office 365 has lots of things that people don't know about. And you may or may not have access to all of this, but I just had a discussion with someone in the hallway before this meeting. Is anybody using things like Teams? So one thing I use it for, like just recently, it was easy to do a quick recording. They're saying that's growing, billions of people are using it, it's really becoming the thing. The goal, I think, from my perspective, is that they're going to put everything together kind of in one place. I think you're going to have all your documents, your communication, your meetings, your recordings. It's going to be your portal for a lot of things. Now, some other stuff I want to show you in project that I think could be useful. And I've got multiple files open here. By the way, I like this switch between open windows. You can do it down here as well. It's just a personal choice. So let's go to my cookbook scenario. Could real life you ever be over allocated? What do you think? Did you know that there are some great features to help you? For example, in resource usage view, so I've got Carol Poland here, who's overworked, but what you may not be able to see is there's a section that says other projects and commitments. If you're connected to Project Online, not only do you see what you have assigned for that person, but you can actually expand and see all the other projects. And depending on your security, what they're doing at that time. So it might not be your fault they're over allocated, it could be somebody else's fault. Isn't that good to know? That's a great feature. Also, what I want to show you is you can use something called Task Inspector to help you try to solve problems. Now, it's not super smart. It pretty much can delay work or suggest you assign to someone else, but it can connect to, if you have Project Professional, Team Planner. And what that does is, this is Microsoft's answer to looking for resource bottlenecks. It'll say, okay, notice these red bracket sections, we have people overworked at this period, we have to solve it. If they're on critical tasks, they're a bottleneck to my project, let's try to figure it out. So what many people do with these tools is, they think the tool is really hard, but they just don't know where all these features are to give them the answers they need. And I also brought up another scenario I'm going to show you. Let me go get out of this a minute. Let's go down to this one. So real life, I actually am working with a company, they manufacture products, and what they told me is they have a real issue. They've got projects where for some reason they need to shorten a period for this project and move people to another project. Have you ever had that happen? So here's a scenario. Now I made it very simple. I have a project where packaged products has a whole bunch of predecessors. And if someone told me the packaging team needs to be moved to another project that's more critical, I need to find out, is there some opportunity to do this project sooner? Well, the old-fashioned way of figuring this out was to look for link lines, try to follow the critical path. But imagine if it's 10,000 lines long. Isn't that just too much? You can now say, what I'd rather do is let's do inspect. And it will actually tell you the critical drivers for this task. And they're hyperlinks. So in order to get this done sooner, you have to shorten these tasks. You can actually trace back, find a root cause of why something's taking too much time, and fix it. This is so popular. I was at a company out in the East Coast, and they said, hey, we're in the medical products industry. And the guy in the back of the room said, hey, Cindy, I think you eliminated my job. I'm like, oh no, how'd I do that? He said, I was hired to build something to trace through a schedule. So this could be pretty useful. So let me pause for a minute for some feedback on things you've seen. Thumbs up on anything? Somebody have some feedback? Go ahead.
I mean, I've never used the inspector feature.
Oh, okay.
I've seen it. I've just
Yeah.
never clicked on it.
No, thank you. That's good feedback. Yes, go ahead.
I just wanted to go back to the planner again.
Sure.
I'm not familiar with that, and you don't have to go back, but just a question. So you're saying that we might be interested in using that as project managers, like within sub-teams or something, if they need something more,
Yes.
a simpler version?
Yes,
of
exactly.
project?
Yeah.
Is that what it's designed for?
It's more of an agile focused tool. And
Okay.
it can connect to tasks on a real project schedule if you want it to, or it can be run all independently.
So you could use it if you have a simpler need within a more waterfall type?
Yes.
Or if it's a more agile?
Correct. Yes. Yep. Yeah, thank you.
And the planner's just in the normal project, or you need the online service?
If you want to connect a project schedule to Planner, you do need Project Online.
Okay.
But to use Planner, it's part of Office 365, so you may have that utility already. All right, let's dive back to our slides and do some other stuff I have planned here. So has anybody heard of Microsoft Flow? I have a real situation from a customer just 2 weeks ago. So a customer said, hey, we need to develop this SharePoint solution that goes in and out of different lists and different sections and pulls data. And they actually got an estimate from a developer. It was about $30,000 was the estimate to do the work. Meanwhile, an intern comes on board with Flow, gives them their solution in less than a week. You're like, wow, I guess I need to find out what Flow is. So Office 365, let me go back to where I was. It really is designed to help you make better decisions and to eliminate stuff that you're doing to waste time. There is all kinds of free ones. So tell me, could any of these help you? Keep you informed on the go? Improve productivity? Any of these sound good? You can actually search out things that can make your life easier. So what I did in advance, is my phone still being passed around?
It's right here.
Let me borrow that again. Thank you. So I set up some flows, and it's very mobile friendly. Imagine if your boss sends an email, you could be alerted. Hey, I just got an email from my boss. Or another situation, I set up a very simple one, is I want the weather. Click a button and it pulls the weather. Here's some you can actually test yourself. You can do the free flow for weather, and I'll show you how to quick get that. Just type in weather. and it'll find the one that's for you. There's a whole bunch for free. Another one you can use that I've also set up on my phone that scared me because it actually hit today. Has anyone heard of I've Been Pawned? So there's actually someone who's another project MVP that has set up a very extensive database collecting all the times when your data's been compromised. You can subscribe to this and get alerted if one of your emails or one of your passwords has been compromised in a data breach, and it'll alert you. So this is something you can actually take home and try, later on today if you've got nothing else to do. With Project Online, I've got a situation from a customer I use right now. There's a whole bunch in here. Here's one that the PMO director is using. Let's say you've got a report that runs and it pulls data. Well, the problem is it only pulls data if everyone's remembered to publish their projects. Wouldn't it be nice to just have it do it automatically for you? So that way all your data is currently up to date. The old-fashioned method is reminding people over and over and over again. We don't have time to do that. So this is something to check out. And if you want to look at some flows, I've got the button here. I'll just pass it around. Now it's in flow mode, so you can play around. There's all kinds of technology you may not have known about. Anybody learn anything yet? Thumbs up. Other feedback you want to share? Are you now going to go hack away on Office 365 when you get back to work? So let's go back to my slides. So these are the ones I recommended. Have I Been Pawned? Here's one about weather, and then this is one you can try, get an email, or get an alert when you get an email from your boss, if that's important. What people do, and I don't know if you have this problem. Oh, go ahead, yes.
Can you make it multiple people notifications?
Oh, sure, yeah, these are all customizable.
Yeah, okay.
Essentially, it's really just a wizard. And they've got things all planned out. Has anyone tried it? Maybe you can take home and try it. Okay, so I've got hot new stuff. This came out July 29th. And you may not have had time to search the internet. But somebody always asks me, hey, you're kind of a supporter of Microsoft. Don't ask me. This is actually a third party, the Forrester report. I don't know if you can see, but Microsoft is up here in the leader. They have actually moved. Stronger offering, market presence, and specifically on business intelligence. Has anyone heard of Power BI? That's a great business intelligence tool. And let me show you just a few other things down here. This is their top 2 quotes. You no longer need to be shy about using Power BI, and consider this as your reporting tool. So this is a free report you can actually take a look at. Just came out the 29th, so I thought I would share that. Okay, we're going to switch gears. We're going to talk about accessibility. I have a short little video, but I do have to turn my volume back on. And I actually already set it up in advance, so it should be right here, ready to go.
People say to me, well, I don't have anyone with a disability on my team, and I laugh because 70+% of disability is invisible.
All of us, at some stage in our lives, will have an access need.
We want to make everyone able to work together and have full access to information. I don't want people to be isolated.
If you don't have accessibility, you don't have employment. It's that simple. If you don't know how accessible you are, you're not.
That's like saying to every 5th person, I don't really want your business. I'm not sure why anyone would want to turn away business like that.
There are barriers to communication everywhere, but I think it's time we look at the barriers as opportunities, and then they will be broken down.
The perfect future for me is when we don't even think about accessibility anymore because it's so easy, it becomes second nature.
Doing things from the get-go not only is reasonably affordable, it actually makes the product better for everyone.
Figure out how you are going to prioritize this going forward, because I promise you, the impact will and is being felt.
So accessibility and inclusion of others might not be what you think. So I'm going to give you a thought. I actually read a book recently. Has anybody read Keep Moving? Who's that star? Do you remember his name, Dick? Kind of a person in his 90s. Let's see if you guys remember.
Is this a business book?
No, it's an actor.
Oh, okay.
What's his name? Dick
Is that
Van...
Michael?
No, Dick Van Dyke, right?
Oh, okay.
Did you know he's still around? So here's what was interesting. He actually was asked to write a book about aging, because he's in his 90s, doing very well. But it turned out the book actually is really a powerful communication about including the elderly and how he's discriminated against. And it's actually being talked about. Also Satya Nadella has a book, Hit Refresh, CEO of Microsoft. He actually has an adult son with cerebral palsy. Did you know that the Microsoft tools are some of the most accessible in the world? What I'd like you to do for just a minute is chat with someone at your table. Think of situations where inclusive technology could help us. So these are some categories you can talk about. Just take a couple minutes, and then we'll regroup once you think of some examples. All right, so let's regroup. Would any group like to share what you discussed? Any table? Yes, go ahead.
I just mentioned Richard here. My wife has a cousin and he has degenerative eye disease where he's going blind. So now he uses a lot of, when he receives an email or something, he has it read to him, and then he responds by speaking it in a type of form. So he really doesn't have to see the document anymore. So that's very helpful.
Yeah, thank you. Somebody else want to share?
It's kind of related, but when I used to live in Indianapolis, there was actually a call center there that was completely focused on hiring the blind. And I don't know what software they use, but they always were advertising to the companies around them if they needed call center, like even temporarily. And basically, at any point when you talk to someone in a call center, you could be talking to someone who's blind and you wouldn't even know it. But yeah, it was just how they had their software set up. And I think it's focused on mostly or something.
Yeah, thank you. Other tables want to share? So one thing you might not be thinking about is it's not just someone that has maybe a physical disability. Could be maybe you have a preferred way of working, like that nightlight mode. That could be your preferred way. Or you want to multitask. You want to be able to walk to your next meeting and be able to talk to your phone so you can get that next email out. Or you could be sitting on the beach doing your work and it's too bright so you can't see your monitor, so you want it to read back to you. Or think of another situation. Someone has maybe holding a baby in their arms. Should they be prevented from using technology? So have you ever thought of that? And many people I have discovered actually might lie about having a disability. So I actually know a PMO director who was colorblind but did not want anyone to know. He actually had memorized what square was which key colors on all their documents. And he said, why don't tell people is I'm afraid they will look down on me. Well, it turns out 2 of his project managers on his team were doing the exact same thing. They were colorblind. I said, why don't you just change those indicators to have R in the middle for red and G for green? You don't realize how many people might need that. I don't know if you remembered in that video, they said 70% of disabilities you cannot see. So what would that lead to? You might be the #1 disability. What was that?
The voices on the
Oh,
other
sorry.
side of the door.
You want to take a guess?
Oh, visual impairment.
Something you can't see.
Dyslexia.
Yeah, there's a lot you can't see. The number one is actually mental disability. They actually say sometime in our life, 83% of us will have a diagnosable mental disability of some kind. In fact, a lot of young millennials, you may not have heard this, are suffering from anxiety, a huge percent. And they say on average, 1 out of 3 of us will be disabled for a year or more. So it might be nice to know about this assistive technology. Uh-oh, Ted, are you calling me? How did I get you to call me?
I'm not touching my phone.
Okay, somebody turned off my do not disturb mode. Thank you. Was that planned?
Hey, Cindy.
Yes, go ahead.
Are there specific tools that you're aware of that would help with the anxiety component, or like do you know of tools directed towards that disability?
So yeah, actually Microsoft has got some new ones, and I can show you in just a minute, but basically they assume that everybody wants to work from their own device to participate in a meeting whether you're there or not. So you can be doing live updates on your tablet even if you're not sitting with the group and participating like in a whiteboarding session. And some of those are new. I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but I know it's an O365 one. Let me go back to the other. This waffle button, I'm hitting the wrong waffle button. See if it comes to mind. I know the whiteboard one works, and I think it's this one. I think it's Kazala. We can look this up online too afterwards, make sure I get the right one. Here's an interesting question. What do you think?
Report that they have one, or
Yeah.
actually have one?
Report that they have one, according to, I think this was U.S. Health and Human Services, came up with this statistic.
10%.
It's higher. Almost, it's 25%. Do you know, like for example, what disabilities some of these people have? What was that?
I think DNA Tourette's.
I thought it was Asperger's. But,
He's both.
oh, he's both. Okay, thank you. Good to know.
What's Asperger's?
This is extreme autism.
Yeah, thank you.
No, Asperger's is mild autism.
It's mild autism.
Very mild.
Yep.
My husband has it.
Oh, okay, good to know. How about anybody else?
Whoopi Goldberg has dyslexia.
Yes, correct.
She has social anxiety, doesn't she?
Might be both. She also has dyslexia. And then Stephen Hawking is Lou Gehrig's, but obviously his is more visible. But I actually have a disability situation that comes up to me actually often. I travel on airplanes quite a bit. My ear doesn't always declog, essentially. I can't hear. So I had a situation, I was meeting someone, a client, the very first time, and I was speaking to the guy, and he kept moving closer to me, and I kept backing up, and he'd move closer, and I'd back up. And I said, thinking, why is he invading my personal space? He had a hearing disability I didn't even realize. So really, think about these kind of things. People may not report that they have a disability. Be more aware. Be inclusive of everyone. So why do you care? This is a great report. You can download this PDF off the internet from Accenture. If you currently champion for being more accessible in your company, do you like 2 times more likely to have higher returns than your competitors? And then the other option is over time, if you improve what you do to include more people, higher returns than your competitors. Does that sound good? So these are all things you can actually look up and review. So I'm going to give you guys a call to action. Some of these you can do right now, and I can show you a few if you're interested. Do you know about dictate and read aloud? I think we just heard an example. I used dictate the other day. So I was actually creating a document where I had to explain what a screen said for someone that was disabled, but I couldn't look at the screen and type at the same time because I needed to look at the screen. So I used the dictate, looked at the screen, read off what I wanted it to say, and then just edited it. So much faster. They think we get tired. Do you guys ever get tired? So besides the nightlight mode we looked at, let's shut this off a minute. Have you used the focus feature? There are different ways to make it easier to see your screen. Some people like some of these other options. Depending on your preferred way of working, some of these might be better. Let's go back to this one. Here's the dictate. So I can just say, usually turns it right on for me. There we go. I'm doing a dictation. This is pretty impressive, isn't it? How quick and responsive that is. Translator we talked about. I just did focus mode. Almost all the Office programs have an accessibility checker. So you know if your document's accessible. Alternate text, it's created automatically for you. Here's something you can have some fun with. Search on the internet for eye gaze control technology. You can actually control your computer with your eyes. It's about $100, $200 addition to your computer. That's really all it is. So it's not just being more inclusive, it's, finding great ways to work better. You think you could try some of these as a call to action? All right, so here's one you can use tomorrow if you'd like. I've got PowerPoint open, and I'm on the slideshow tab. I'm going to turn on subtitles. And let's see, let's pick some settings. How about we assume English? And below the slide, and I brought up a cute dog picture to test this. This is artificial intelligence. This can also translate into another language while you're giving a presentation. Do I get a thumbs up on this one?
Yeah, that's cool.
Wow.
You can use this tomorrow. So why do you care? Maybe you're working with someone that has a heavy accent. I work with someone right now who has a German accent. It takes me about 5 minutes before I start to understand what he has to say because I don't have a lot of experience with that accent. This really helps. Or if you're in the back of the room, what do you think? I actually attended a graduation where they had a speaker giving a speech, and it was in a big stadium, tons of people. Had a really difficult time hearing the speaker. I'm like, why did they not turn on subtitles? So much better. So let's change languages. Let's have some fun here. What language would you like to pick?
Spanish.
All right, let's see, that should be in here, I would imagine. Does anyone in the group own a dog?
Wow.
I don't know if I have your favorite breed, but hopefully you've got fun pictures to look at.
Yeah, it reads accurate.
Oh, so you're fluent? Thank you.
Yeah.
I know they don't have every language or every dialect, but I know they're working on that.
Does it have the Oriental character languages, either Chinese or Japanese?
I don't know. Now, some of that also might be based on what's installed on my computer with language packs. So can you give me, which one should I pick?
Can you just said Mandarin?
Yeah, let's see. Is it in, it's not even in here, I don't see it. Am I missing it?
There's Chinese above, but.
And I don't know which one to pick.
Let's get one.
Simplified, let's try it. Oh, I turned off my subtitles. This is a test of the Chinese language translation.
Whoa.
Wow, I've never tried this. This is exciting, guys. I will need a local expert to let me know how it does. Are you going to impress your coworkers tomorrow with this?
A Chinese presentation, right?
You're like, what in the world?
So Cindy, when you're in presentation mode,
Yeah.
the subtitles will still pop below on the screen?
Yeah, you decide how you want the subtitles to present, whether they're on top of the slide, below the slide, above the slide. So maybe for the PDD, you can do all subtitles. There you go.
All the Spaniards in the room will.
Yeah, yep. Now I know we had some issues with my video playing earlier. Let's try this one. So we did that one. This is going to make you super excited, coming out potentially in August, which is this month. Any thoughts about Presenter Coach?
So that shows on the screen as you're giving the presentation?
The purpose of it, oh, I guess I should turn off my subtitles here.
I'll do that. Don't take it away.
The idea behind it is in rehearsal mode. So before I come, is to get feedback. Hey, am I using words that maybe aren't very good words? Am I speaking too fast? Like, I know I spoke very fast at the beginning. You guys didn't stop me. But it would have told me in rehearsal mode, hey, maybe you could correct that. So imagine before you give your big presentation to have this. So they said coming out summer. We're hoping this month. This is just a free video on the internet. You can review it. There's a couple other things I thought I would show you before we run out of time here. Something called My Analytics. Are you working too much? And are you wasting time switching tasks? Through Office 365, there's actually a feature to analyze your work and give you suggestions. When should you do focus hours? It can actually give you a report at the end of the month. You've spent 4 hours, doing personal things. You've taken 2 days off. And luckily for you, the data, there's no data shared with your HR department. So, don't worry about that. But it's something that you can consider to kind of analyze. And I won't play this video because we're getting near the end, but they've got one where there's a company, a NASCAR type company using this that you can look at. So another feature that's out there. So lots of cool stuff coming. My Analytics, that's the one I just mentioned. So here's a call to action for you. I want you to discuss something that we talked about or try something. That's your call to action. And we are ready for our book drawing. Kim, would you mind assisting me? So we have 2 books to give away. It's over here. And did you put your name
Did everyone
in?
get a card in if they want?
And I can autograph it later, so draw a name.
Okay.
Who did we get? Okay. Is it Dwayne? Sorry. Well,
Starts
yeah.
with an S.
There's only one in the room.
There's only one, so it's you. So hey, congrats. I'll autograph this at the end here for you. We've got another book to give away. Who did we get?
Jason.
Jason, what are we getting the whole group? So I actually negotiated a little bit and got a discount code if you're more of an ebook person or if you want to get a book later. PMI is the discount code, or see me at the end here. And we can stay connected. You may not know this. I started a YouTube channel, and the one for West Michigan PMI promo video was my first ever YouTube video. So I'm really glad you're here. Stick around if you want to discuss anything else, but thank you, everybody.
Yes.